So we're going to look at algebraic fractions in this video. Now, with algebraic fractions, you want to firstly factorize generally, and then simplify. Let's have a look at this particular example here. We have x squared minus 2x. We can factorize that in x, so we'll look at x minus 2. The bottom, if you use a quadratic factorization, you have x minus 3 and x minus 2. Now notice that the x minus 2 are the same, so we can simplify them out. So left with x over x minus 3. Now it's quite a common mistake for a lot of people to actually do this particular line. They see that there's an x here on the top and an x here on the bottom, and they think they can simplify it. You can't do that. It doesn't work out being the same. Let me show you why. So let's say we have 2 and then 2 plus 1. Let's say we simplify the 2's. We're left with a 1 on top, and then that's 1 over 1, which is a 1. Now a lot of people end up doing that. Let's show you what really happens. See how there's a 2 plus 1 on the bottom? We have to do that first. And you can see that 2/3 is not the same as 1. So don't ever simplify it in between the numbers. You can't do that. And secondly, if you follow the bit mass order, you can't do that anyway, because you have to actually add this first before you actually divide it. Because technically, the bottom part isn't a bracket. If you write this out as one single line, you'll see why. Okay, so if you have division, just keep in mind that you also have to do the keep change flip with the fraction. So what I mean by that, let's do keep change flip first. You have to keep the first one as it is, you change the divide to a times, and then you flip it between the bottom and the top. Then we do our factorizations. We have x squared like so, minus 1 squared, because I notice that on this particular one, that's a difference of 2 squares, so I'm going to write them out as difference of 2 squares. You might also notice at the bottom here and the top there gives you x minus 3 and 3 minus x. They're negative versions of each other, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a negative in front of this other one, so that becomes x minus 3. Whenever you factorize out negative, your signs swap, so the negative x becomes a positive x, and then your plus 3 becomes a negative 3. Alright, we're not quite done yet. We haven't done the factorization for the other one. We have x squared plus 1 and x squared minus 1. X minus 3 here, negative. Now I'm going to put a 1 here, so we can use that later. And that way we won't forget about it. Alright, so if you have a look, we have 1 plus x squared. I'm going to put brackets over that. And the x minus 3 to remind ourselves that this is one whole factor. It's one whole number. So what I mean by that, remember 2 and 2 plus 1, they're completely separate. 2 plus 1 is one whole number by itself, which is a 3. It's not just a 2. So similar to what we were talking about before, you can't divide it otherwise, because it's a collective number. Alright, x minus 3 with x minus 3. We have a 1 plus x squared and a 1 plus x squared. So we're left with negative x squared minus 1, which if you then expand will give you 1 minus x squared. Okay, now if you're adding and subtracting fractions, if there are any common factors, we need to write them all down. And to know what common factors we have, we need to firstly factorize them. So 3, x plus 1 there, x minus 2 on the second one, and then the third one we have x minus 1, x minus 2, x plus 1. So if you write down all the common factors, we have an x plus 1, x minus 2, and also a 3. So for all the ones that are missing them, we're going to multiply it. The first one is missing an x minus 2, so we're going to multiply x minus 2 on the top. The second one, we're missing a 3 and x plus 1. And the third one, we're missing a 3, so we're going to multiply 3. Now remember, with fractions, you always multiply the top and the bottom when you're trying to add the fractions to make them the same. So make sure you don't forget to do that. Then, you can leave your brackets on the bottom, factorize like it is. But make sure that you expand the brackets on the top one. So you have 2x minus 4. Now this negative multiplies onto this, so don't forget that. So you have negative 3x minus 3 plus 3x. And then if you simplify that, you have 2x minus 7.